You know what time it is, people. What's up? What's happening? Happy motherfucking Wednesday. Hope you guys and girls are enjoying yourselves today. Hope y'all are chilling and shit. We're gonna break it down since you guys always ask. You guys always ask, Matt, yo, what's happening? I want to build these arms. I want to get bigger arms, but I don't know what the fuck to do. So this episode today is tailored to you. All right. So I'm gonna just pin this over here so that motherfuckers on Instagram know that we're talking about, and then we're gonna get into it. Another day, another podcast. Again, I do apologize for hopping on a little bit later. I was in a meeting, and I'm actually gonna fly into another meeting right after this. So you best believe we are hustling today. You best believe we won't leave any stones unturned. Okay, so I'm gonna hop right on into it. You know the rules, you know the deal. If you're new to the podcast, you're more than welcome to drop questions or comments as I go along, and I'll respond at the end if there's time, or I'll respond before I start the podcast, which is now. All right. So if you have any questions, comments, do not hesitate to drop them at this point in time. Okay. So with that said, that message has gone through, I assume. Again, hello to everybody that's here. We will be diving into the podcast very shortly. As a matter of fact, I'm just waiting for this recording software to load up over here so that I can actually record this podcast. So, yes, again, guys and girls, you are more than welcome to ask questions, drop comments, or anything insightful. And at the end, if I have time, I will break it down with you. Okay. So, without wasting any time, we'll be diving into the podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Yo, what's good, meatheads? Hope you're having an amazing day, and welcome to another episode of the Meathead on the Mic podcast. It's your host, the returning champion, IFBB PRO Matt Butale, coming at you with another topic today. All right, and today we'll be talking about growing 3D shredded arms. Okay, how to grow 3D shredded guns. Okay, but before we dive into that, I want to let you know that you're welcome to join the Meathead Monsters community. It's a free Facebook community where you get the opportunity to meet other meatheads like myself. Okay. Also, don't forget to screenshot and share this podcast to your Instagram story to show support. And another thing I want to let you know, if you wish to reach out to me, see more of my content, actually message me, DM me, or talk to me, you can search for me, Matt Butale, MATT space BUTALE, on Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm everywhere. If you don't want to fucking do that manually, just Google me. You'll find me. All right. And also, if you're watching this, hit the fucking sub. You know what time it is. All right. Let's get into it. Okay. Secrets for growing bigger, leaner arms. All right. So, I, growing up, was a super skinny guy, scrawny as shit, didn't have arms. I was one of those guys where, like, and let me know if you can relate to this if you're a bro. I would tuck in my t-shirt sleeves into my backpack, whatever you want to call it, the harness, the straps that go in your backpack. I would tuck it in to make my arms look bigger because I just fucking hated the way I looked. Honestly, I hated, the way I felt and just being skinny and shit, not having big arms. Right. Most of it was because I was young, and of course, these things do take time. If you actually want to grow any kind of muscle, it does take time. But that was something that I dealt with. That was a reality that I had to live with um, you know, earlier on in my years. I really fucking hated, shopping for clothes, because it just didn't feel like I didn't feel comfortable. I would always go there nervous and sweating, like, fuck, is this gonna fit? Or is that gonna look good if I tuck it in and fold up the sleeves? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want big guns, but I don't have them. I'm sporting 12 inches right now. Right. So that was my reality. So that's sort of what inspired me to make this podcast episode today and help those of you, those of you guys, and I don't know if you girls want to do this, but those of you guys that want to build 3D muscular biceps and triceps. Okay. So if that's you and you relate to what I was just talking about, tune the fuck in. All right. I'm about to over deliver to you guys. All right. So let's get it out the way. We know this growing your arms can be annoying. Okay. For some people, their arms respond well to training. Like some people just naturally have big arms. I remember there was a buddy of mine when I was playing football in high school. His name is Carlington. Shout out if you listen to this. It's I guess he got it from his father, but he just had massive biceps and triceps. It made no sense, right? So, like personally for me, I didn't have that. Like my arms never responded well to training, so I always had skinny arms, right? So if that's you, keep listening. So for some people, they respond well to training. And for most people, like me, and probably you listening to this, it's not so easy, right? So I noticed that the true challenge was not only to grow them bigger, to get bigger arms, but it was also keeping them lean at the same time. Because I didn't want to like, bulk up to a point where like I got fat and then yes, I got bigger arms, but like it was fat and they didn't actually look shredded. I didn't want to get to that point. right? So I was sort of like confused. I didn't really know what to do. Okay. And in this episode today, in this live stream, if you're watching the live stream on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook, I'm going to be sharing with you the three secrets that I've used over the last couple of years, I'll say even decade, to help me grow my 3D looking arms naturally. And again, I don't like to like boast about this or talk about it a lot. Yes, I'm a natural bodybuilder, but I really don't care to tell you guys because I'm a bodybuilder anyway. I'm professional, and the field is the field. Okay, so that's just out the way. So if you struggle with building your arms, if you struggle with getting shredded 3D guns, and you have skinny arms right now, pull out your fucking pad and pen because this one is going to be of serious value, of massive value, pun intended. All right. So, the number one thing that you need to focus on when it comes to building 3D shredded arms, massive guns, is the training game plan. When we think of big arms, quote unquote, we automatically think of, the biceps with the high peaks, like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Ronnie Coleman. Those biceps that just look like they have a mountain on the top of it, right? And you think that, by training, you can get that mountain on your biceps. But here's the kicker. All right. I'm just going to keep it a stack with you guys today. You can't actually, you shouldn't actually focus on building that mountain because you might get discouraged. And this is something that happened to me. I got discouraged when I tried to build that mountain, quote unquote, because I realized that, those things, when it comes to the shape of the bicep and the shape of a muscle, that's strictly genetic. Your arms can get bigger, but it won't necessarily take on a certain shape because you train a certain way. So that means if you train your biceps like me or you train them like Arnold, you won't get biceps like me or biceps like Arnold. You're going to get your version of biceps. Okay. You're going to get your version of biceps, but just bigger, right? And hopefully more lean, which is my intention today. I hope that after you listen to this and you apply this over the couple of years, your arms can get bigger and a little bit more leaner. Okay. Again, guys and girls, you shouldn't focus on copying someone's bicep shape, and you can't anticipate that your shape will change because you're doing their workout, right? Again, the bicep is the smallest part of the arm. All right. It's the smallest part of the arm. Like the tricep is way bigger, and we're going to get into that, right? Almost 70% of the mass on your arms comes from your triceps. So don't waste your time training your biceps if you actually want to get bigger arms. Does that make sense? If that makes sense and you're listening to this on the podcast recording, just nod your head silently. Or if that makes sense and you're watching this live, just drop a comment down below. All right. So, what you need to do to grow bigger, more shredded, lean arms is put more of an emphasis on your triceps than your biceps. Because again, if arm size is the issue and 70% of your arm's mass comes from your triceps, then your main attention, the most weight, the most volume should be going towards you training your triceps. Is that clear? Okay, so that's the first thing out the way. The second thing, guys and girls, is frequency. Aside from isolating your bicep and your tricep, you've got to be able to train them at least 3 times a week, okay? At least over 16 weeks to begin seeing noticeable changes in symmetry and size. So it's going to take at least 4 months for, your biceps to start growing once you actually consistently train them, right? So you've got to be patient with that. It's not going to happen in a week. It's not going to happen in 2 weeks. It might start happening in 4 months. And even then, depending on your genetics, depending on your nutrition, depending on your intensity, okay, and your recovery and things like that, it might take longer or less time. Again, everyone's different. Okay. I typically train them between 3 to 5, sometimes 7 days a week when I'm at the peak of prep. I don't recommend that because I'm a professional bodybuilder and I do things differently because I'm a professional bodybuilder. And if you're not a professional bodybuilder, I wouldn't recommend training them every day, right? For me, there were weak points, so that's something I did. But on average, 3 to 5 times a week is a really, really good benchmark, a starting point, right? I train them pretty much every day except leg day. And I don't train them ridiculously hard. I just train them fairly hard because otherwise I wouldn't have enough, time to heal the arms in order to, fully repair them and go all in the next day. Okay. So again, 3 to 5 times a week. You want to be frequent with it. They are smaller muscle groups, so you can get away with training them a lot more. Okay. Just like your calves, they're smaller muscle groups. Okay. So think of your calves. You're on your calves every single day. They're working every day, whether or not you use them. And same thing with your arms, right? Of course, your calves take more of a load, but again, smaller muscle groups can tolerate more frequency. So definitely take advantage of that. All right. So number three, guys and girls, mainly guys, because I don't really know any girls that want to get 3D massive shredded arms. But if that's you, then tune the fuck in, lady. All right. So arms. Okay. Intensity, 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 intensity. I'm going to stress this till the day I die. It's easy. It's so fucking easy to tear your bicep or tricep. I'm sure you've seen it online somewhere in some gym fail video of somebody tearing their bicep or tricep. Literally, all you have to do is lift way too heavy while not giving yourself enough time to rest or to heal, and then they get injured, which is why I mentioned 3 to 5 times is a good, benchmark. But honestly, for most people starting, I would say 3 times a week is good, and then build up to that, as your arms get stronger and you notice that you might, be able to tolerate a little bit more training. Okay. You can take more of a load. All right. And you're recovering fast. Like those are the things you want to look at. Okay, so you've got to give yourself enough rest and time to heal in order to not get injured. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Is that clear? All right. So arms is one of those things, one of those muscle groups that you absolutely do not need to move heavy weight with. You don't. It's not as big as your chest. It's not as big as your arms. It's not as big as your back. You absolutely do not need to lift heavy fucking weight with your arms. Okay, at all. You don't. It's unnecessary. You'll get way more lean growth, to get shredded 3D arms by doing more controlled reps, larger sets, doing supersets, triple sets, or giant sets. And if these terms are new to you and these terms are something that you're not familiar with, honestly, shoot me a DM and I'll see if I can help you out when it comes to understanding what the fuck this is all about. Okay. There is no place for ego lifting when it comes to arms. You will hurt yourself. You absolutely will hurt yourself. All right. Use medium to light weights and remember that the machines and cables that are your friends. Machines and cables are your friends. Don't be the douchebag curling the squat rack. All right. You don't only need dumbbells to build big arms. Machines and cables are your friends simply because they allow you to contract the muscles a lot better and control the reps a lot better. Right. And the quality of the reps is way more important when it comes to arms than the quality of or the quantity of the weight. Okay. Is that clear? And that pretty much applies across the board. I won't even lie. Okay. So isometric workouts is what you want to be doing as well. You don't want to just be training, curling two arms at the same time or doing extensions with two arms at the same time. And the reason why is because you want to be able to build symmetrical arms. We all know that one dude that's got one arm that's bigger than the other. Shout out to you guys and girls that are old enough and know of that Family Guy episode when you saw Quagmire walking out the house and he was like beating it day in day out, and he had one arm that was super swollen, the other one, you know what I'm talking about. All right, that's super not PG-13, but I don't give a fuck. It's funny, and we're about banter here sometimes. We laugh sometimes, but anyway, okay, we don't want to build asymmetrical arms. We want to have arms that look the same when we hit a front double bicep. Right. For those of you that don't know what a front double bicep is, I assure you that you do know what it is. It just means bringing your arms up like this and flexing. Though YouTube can see it. Some of you guys on TikTok can see it, but not really my arms because of the frame. But that's not the point. Okay. So, guys and girls, isometric workouts just means one at a time, isometric, one at a time. Movements are great. Those movements are great because you can balance out the symmetry in both arms and not make it so evident that you're right handed and that you beat off with your right hand. All right. So, but none of this matters. Okay. None of this matters if you do not eat enough protein. We all know that protein is muscle food, right? We know that. If you're listening to this, you should know that. And if you don't know that, now you know. Okay. If you aren't eating muscle food, you won't grow muscle. It's simple. All right. It's super simple. Right. Shout out to homie watching the live stream on YouTube. Oh, I had an alarm go off there. Yeah, homegirls like LOL at the Family Guy reference. You know what it is. All right. Let's break it down. I'm going to be giving you, honestly, I'm feeling like I'm in a giving mood today. I really want to give. I really want to over deliver today. So I'm going to give you my arm routine, my bicep and tricep workout that I do 3 to 5 times a week, sometimes 7 days a week when I'm in prep. Okay. So if you struggle with building 3D shredded arms, pull out your pad and your pen or open up your phone's notes if you're listening to this on the podcast and like literally label these things down. Okay. Word for word. All right. And if you're having trouble with this, go to my Instagram page. I dropped several posts on this. You'll be able to find it. Just look for a picture of me with my arms and you'll probably see it. All right. So, number one, the first workout that I'll do, which honestly, whenever I train bicep and triceps, it would be at the end of the workout. Why? Because I'm pre-fatigued already by, doing chest or back or shoulders or something. And there's already some sort of blood flow and a mild pump going on in my arms. So it already makes the workouts a little bit more difficult. So I don't have to use a lot more weight, right? Because again, there is no place for ego lifting when it comes to building arms. So number one, I have a cable curl drop set. So cable curls essentially is, you've seen them at the gym. Those cables, that pulleys, the pulley system thingy, you go there, you put your favorite attachment on for your biceps. Again, it's going to vary for everybody. Some people like the straight bar, some people like the V bar, but as long as you can curl with it and feel the contraction and get a good range of motion, you're okay. Okay, so I'll do a cable curl drop set, and it's actually a superset. Okay, I'll explain this right now. So a drop set is essentially you do one set, and then you drop the weight by a little bit. You do another set, and you drop the weight by a little bit. You do another set, and you drop the weight by a little bit. So I'll do that 7 times. I'll drop the weight 7 times, and every single set I'll do 15 reps. But it's also a superset. So when I'm doing my bicep curls at the same time, I'll be doing my tricep extensions. So I'll essentially hog 2 pulley systems, 2 cables. One is set up for biceps, one is set up for triceps. I'll do the bicep curls, 15 reps, go to the tricep extensions, do that for 15 reps, come back to the curls, drop the weight, rinse and repeat. Make sense? Does that make sense? And if it didn't make sense, just run it back and repeat it. This is a recording for a reason. I want you guys to have this value to keep forever for free from an IFBB Pro. All right. So number two, isometric dumbbell preacher curls. Again, you don't have to do this with dumbbells. There is a machine where you can go on and literally just, do your preacher curls, and it's set up with a preacher bench. And isometric, we talked about that a little bit earlier on in the podcast episode. Isometric, okay, just simply means one arm at a time. Okay? It means one arm at a time. That's all isometric means. And that's all you're going to need to do. So, isometric dumbbell preacher curls, you can do them on the machine. You can do them with the cables. You can even do them with if you have the space and the time for it, you can do it with the cables, but I wouldn't recommend that. It takes a lot of time. You can do it with the machine. You can do it with the dumbbell, the old school way. It's up to you. Okay. So number three, isometric dumbbell tricep kickbacks. So isometric dumbbell tricep kickbacks is essentially a kickback. You're bending forward and you're kicking back with the dumbbell in your hand. Again, you can do this with the cable. You don't have to do this with the dumbbell. 4 sets of 12, just like the preacher curl. 4 sets of 12. Okay. Number four, I do hammer curls. If you don't know what that is, YouTube it, Google it. Again, all the answers are there. You can just, take these words and punch them into Google and find out what these movements are. I would do hammer curls, relatively heavy for me, for 3 sets of 10. And that focuses on the outer portion of the bicep, and it gives you that roundness that you need to get 3D, right? And also, you're going to get a shit ton of blood pumped into there, an amazing pump after you do all the 3 workouts that I just labeled before. And last but not least, we do a tricep focused body weight dip for 3 sets of 12. You could superset the hammer curls with the tricep dips. That's what I usually do when I'm in a time crunch for 3 sets of 12. But it's not necessary. You don't have to, because by then you should already be taxed. So if you noticed, I train both bicep and tricep at the same time. You don't have to. I always love training out in the same day, but the reason why I do it is because, it maximizes the pump that I can feel. And again, it really, really gives me that all around encompassing full 3D popping feel and look. Okay. So that's something that you might want to do if you really struggle with me. All right. Not with me, but struggle with, sorry, I read something. Struggle with building a 3D biceps. Okay. So, guys and girls, you can separate them. You don't have to do them at the same time. You don't. You could do them on one day and then the other day switch and all that stuff. But I would recommend doing them at the same time, at least with this specific workout, because it works the best that way. Warning, it's going to burn like hell. Okay, it's gonna fucking hurt. But again, no pain, no gain. You know the saying, right? You'll work up to it. You'll honestly work up a great sweat, but more importantly, you get a huge arm pump and develop 3D biceps and triceps. Is that clear? All right, that's it. That's all. Just wanted to drop some value to you guys today. Thank me later. Which one of those tips stuck out to you the most? Let me know. You can shoot me up a DM on Instagram, on TikTok, wherever you find me. Hit me up. Let me know which one stuck out to you the most. All right. Now it's time for you to take action. If you like this episode, share it out with a friend. I hope I was able to deliver a valuable experience to you guys and girls today. Thank you so much for your precious time and attention. Also, if you want to join the Natural Nomad Academy, which is the coaching company that I run to help people build their arms, burn fat, and do everything in between, feel free to DM me. Okay. Feel free to DM me and join the Meathead locker room community. All right. If you're a good fit, I'll welcome you in. If you're not, I'll let you know what you need to change in order to be a good fit. Okay. P.S. I won't be monetizing this podcast with ads because I respect your time and I just want you to get the value. Okay. So don't forget to screenshot and share this podcast out to your Instagram stories if you got value. Let's embrace your inner meatheads together. All right. It's been nice chatting. Hope you like what today's topic was about. IFBB Pro Map with Tale signing out. Boom. All right, people. It's up in the air. I've got a meeting in 9 minutes. So if you have questions, drop your questions and comments. I see a little bit over here on Instagram, and I'm going to answer that in a bit. Just going to charge this phone up because the Facebook phone died literally at the end, but it's okay because we got everything else. Everything else is saved. I'm not going to cry over spilt milk. Noel, if you have any questions, drop them now. I'm going to read some of the stuff. Shout out to everybody that joined. So, homie says, did this frequency ever impact your pressing or pulling? If it did, would that indicate overtraining? So that's a great question. I love the fact that you asked that question. So the reason I would say no, and the reason why is because, and I said it earlier on, maybe you just joined a little bit late. I always train my arms again, if it's 3 to 5 times a day or even 7 days a week at the end of the workout. Okay, so if it's at the end of the workout, it's not going to impact any pressing or pulling simply because I already did the pressing and pulling beforehand. But now, if you're asking about the next day, if it impacts, not really. I mean, you're going to feel slightly sore, and if you do feel sore, of course, dial back, train your arms less. But for the most part, no, because I keep it at the end of the workout. I pre fatigue my arms throughout the workout. And at the end of it, that's when I'll pretty much bang out those 4 workouts that I just labeled. All right. Great question. All right, people. Okay. Homie says, do you skip leg day? Check out my TikTok. You tell me if I skip leg day. Hey, I appreciate you. 753 likes on TikTok. Fucking much appreciated. I appreciate all of you. All right, people. I'm super busy. I got to fly out to another meeting. Okay. It's been nice chatting. Hope you like what today's topic was about. It's your returning champion, and he's signing out. Boom.